Hey guys, welcome back, and thanks for viewing last week when we talked about ulcerative colitis. That is a very broad-reaching disease state that hits a lot of people, and I want to revisit that a couple of times over the next few weeks to talk more about diet. Now today, what we want to talk about is stress and how broad-reaching it is in today's society. There was a good study I read by the American Institute of Stress that showed that up to 90% of primary care visits are secondary to stress, but they don't look at stress as being the underlying cause. So if you got blood pressure, blood sugar, fibromyalgia, problem sleeping, anxiety, you name the disease state, we're probably going to touch it today. Thanks for tuning in. All right, guys, so let's talk about stress. And to break it down, let's all think about life and everyday life, and then how it ends up turning into 90% of the reasons why you go to your doctor, okay? So blood pressure, inability to sleep, anxiety, blood sugar issues, fibromyalgia. Let's think about this. Let's say I used to sell cars. I'm at the desk, 3 appointments show up at the same time. My new car sales manager's running down my throat saying, what are you doing? Get your paperwork done. I didn't do all my paperwork right for finance. They're griping at me for not doing that right. Now I got to split those 2 deals. And next thing you know, a 10-hour day goes by like that. Or you're a parent, you got a kid crying, you got to phone this, you're trying to cook this, not burn the house down, or you're a farmer, whatever. Everybody understands. So what's going on? Well, your HPA axis is in control of your adrenals and tells your adrenals when to spit out more cortisol, which is really a good anti-inflammatory in your brain. But for us that are stressed, let's say we're running from the bear, it's our fight or flight hormone. So we're running from a bear, according to your brain. It's just evolution. But we're not running. We're sitting behind the desk, right? So this bear's chasing you. Your brain starts spitting out more cortisol, which in return vasoconstricts, increases blood pressure, puts blood sugar in your bloodstream to give you energy to run from the bear. You're not running. Blood sugar ends up being deposited in visceral adiposity. Shuts down your GI tract, because if you're being chased by a bear, I guarantee you're not going to stop and take a crap. So now we got constipation and bowel issues. Okay? Think about, let's say, the last time you were in rush hour traffic. Cruising down, somebody's honking at you, a wreck, you're doing this. I mean, you want to rip the steering wheel off your car, don't you? Anxiety. Then you get home, you can't shut it off. I mean, it takes a long time to shut off this response, and it just gets harder and harder to shut it off. Let's say 20 years of stress. The reason being is your hippocampus and other parts of your negative feedback loop, there's a chart here I'm going to show you, tell you when you're not running from the bear anymore. But we're running all day long. So it never shuts off. So at night, you can't go to sleep because your brain is still running 100,000 miles an hour, right? You ever stare at the ceiling? Well, that's what's going on, more than likely, in 90% of the people. So we've talked about blood pressure, anxiety, sleep disorders, irritable bowel, constipation. I mean, all this is secondary to 90% of us, stress. But when we go to the doctor, what happens? Disease state manager, take this, take this, take this, take this. It may not be the issue. Those are Band-Aids, right? So let's talk about how we can get this under control through simple testing and some simple, even stuff like yoga, breathing exercises. We'll go over that too. But first, this is why I think that salivary testing is so important, okay? You go to the doctor, they check your blood. That's a one-time thing. It's going to just give you a number. Your cortisol's 21. That's within normal limits. Or they do urinary testing, which is another. It's just going to give you a number. It doesn't break it down to what's going on throughout the day. And in this table that I'm going to show you here right now, I'm going to show you how my testing, in my professional opinion, we should do salivary testing, which is super easy to do. So look at this chart, and then I'm going to show you why we should do salivary out there and show you what I mean by it's very important on which test you get. Okay, the blood test you get at a standard doctor's office is a snapshot of your 24 hours. It's going to give you a total. The urinalysis is the same way. It's just going to give you a number. Okay, so what we do, and you go in there and draw blood. You got somebody in there poking a needle in your arm, and then you're spilling blood out. That causes stress. That could affect your number right there, and it's true. You go into a doctor's office, it's called white coat hypertension. You're going to be stressed because people just think they're going to find cancer or something. You know what I mean? So everybody's stressed when they go to the doctor anyway. What we do, and it's a much better snapshot of what's going on, is a salivary kit that I just mail right to your house. It's probably cheaper, so cost effective, and you do it when you want to do it, spitting in a little tube. Zero stress, no puncture, no cortisol spikes due to stress. And let me tell you why this is the only way you want to do it. I'm going to show you this chart right here. So what we have, I want to show you first, is a normal cortisol curve. If you Google normal cortisol curve on the internet, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see 30 minutes after you wake up, your morning hormones spike. They're at their highest point of the day. That would be testosterone, estrogen, thyroid, cortisol. These are called diurnal hormones. They're going to be at the top. They go down throughout the course of the day, lower at noon, a little lower at 4, and then at their lowest point at midnight, so you can shut all the day hormones off and you can go to bed. Then your nocturnal hormones take off, and that would be melatonin, growth hormones, stuff like that. Progesterone is a nocturnal hormone. So this is the normal, this is what we want to see. I'm just going to throw, everybody's tests are a little bit different, but let's say your total cortisol at this point is 20. And I'm going to give you that reference number because it's important. Now, the person is stressed out of their gore all day long, every single day. They may start off somewhat normal, slightly elevated when they get up, but throughout the day they experience so much stress, their line is up above where a normal line is, stays above it, and is still above it at night. So I know this is a terrible pen, so I'm going to try to use this one. So you can see it's slightly above. But when we look at the total cortisol through the day, you're only a half a point high there, 1 point high there, half a point high there, half a point high there. So your total cortisol comes back on a blood, comes back at 22. So the doctor's like, well, yeah, you got slightly elevated. But you still don't know where you're elevated. And we can see that the person that's stressed throughout the day, it's higher here. And now they got the higher at night, so they can't go to bed. These are the people that are staring at the ceiling all day. Okay? That would be high. Now you got the person that's been stressed for 25 years. Some people call it adrenal fatigue. I don't care what you call it, but eventually you're not going to be able to cope with stress with putting out natural cortisol. So you start low, you're lower throughout the day, and then most of those have a high phenomenon where they go slightly high at night. So what's going on here is these are the people that they just can't keep up at work anymore. They can't multitask. They eat lunch. They want to take a nap throughout the day. They have no energy. Okay? People, they come into my pharmacy, they're on Adderall. It's a class 2 narcotic because they're tired. Give me a break. It's a cortisol deal. You're just been stressed out for so long. Then they have this spike at night. They can't sleep either. So if you think about this, these are the people, the highs are the people that their blood pressure is elevated throughout the day. So they go see the doctor. Of course, their blood pressure is elevated. They give them blood pills. Blood sugar is probably high on this patient too. So they're on something for blood sugar. They're anxious and they can't go to sleep. So now we're on 2, 3 blood pressure medications. You've got a handful of stuff and you can't sleep at night. The low people are on amphetamines, something to boost them throughout the day. They're on a bunch of thyroid stuff or whatever. Then they can't sleep at night either, so they're on Ambien or whatever. If we just look at the adrenals and get these things to the point where we can handle the stress, remove stress, build these adrenals back up with some glandulars here to bring it up, bring it down with some phosphatidylserine, throughout the course of the day, you can see that my salivary test is going to tell me and you where Mr. Jones is high, where he's low, and where we can treat it. What we're trying to do is get you off all these medications. We're trying to prevent you from going on all these medications. A simple little salivary test that I mail directly to you can prevent 5 or 6 different medications down the line. It's called polypharmacy, guys. You end up spending hundreds of dollars a month for the rest of your life on prescription medications. When we can treat it, get it normalized, get your stress under control, and then most people, they're off all supplements once you get it under control. You know, if we have to give you some vitamin C, a B complex, fully methylated with some rhodiola and ashwagandha and some phosphatidylserine, get you healed in about 6 months, then start peeling you off. Then you can do your breathing treatments and yoga to keep it under control and remove the stress from your life. I'm not trying to get you on a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to heal you and prevent you from being on stuff for the rest of your life. And medications have side effects. I think we all know that. So that's what we're talking about. I know this was kind of long-winded, but it's unbelievably important for us to get this stuff under control now, so 20 years from now, you're not on a handful of stuff, vicious cycle down, and your health is depleted. So thanks for tuning in. You know, we talked about treatments, and I think this is going to help a lot of people. Call me, email me, let me know if you have any questions. Happy holidays, guys. So, you know, we talked about what the charts and everything, but let's talk about lifestyle and how we can treat this without taking blood pressure pills, without taking blood sugar pills, without all these prescriptions. You know, the most important thing is to tell your brain that you're not stressed. A really simple way to do it, breathing exercises, okay? If somebody, when they feel that stress going up, if they just went to, you know, I would tell some people go to the restroom. That's the only place they don't get bothered, right? Go to the restroom and do 10 deep breaths. At a car dealership, probably not a good idea. But anywhere else, just somewhere where nobody's calling you or bothering you, 10 deep breaths, close your eyes. Do that 10 times. Guarantee you'll feel better. You won't be as stressed out. That's telling your hippocampus. We talked about the hippocampus talking to your hypothalamus. Cut it off. I'm not being chased with a bear anymore. It immediately brings all that stuff down. Okay? Yoga is a good way to do it. Yoga gets you in a good state of mind, okay? Time off from work. I think we all know that, but a lot of people can't take time off of work. Physical activity, okay? There are a lot of good pharmaceutical-grade supplements, adaptogenic herbs, ashwagandha, rhodiola, schizandra. All these things are great at offsetting the cortisol response and utilizing those things. They're really similar to the way cortisol looks. I love using those things. We can adjust your table, okay, your cortisol. I can bring it up, I can bring it down with natural adrenals. Phosphatidylserine is a good way to bring it down, get you sleeping better. So it's really patient specific, depends on how long you've been stressed. But if we get this blood work back, like I said, I mean, the price is really cheap, and we'll go over it together. I don't charge anything to go over it with you, and I can email it. Then we can talk about what's best for you. Patient specific, because we're all different. We're all snowflakes, guys, right? So thanks for tuning in. I really think that this is important for everybody to get under control, because 20 years from now, I want you to be able to remember your kid's name and not be on 15 medications. So thanks for tuning in. Can't wait. Bring back some good responses on what we want to talk about in the future. I love y'all's feedback. Thanks, guys. Happy holidays.